What's up everyone? Alex here. We're very fortunate that we live in a world where NIS America took a risk with bringing some older Falcom titles to the West. The first two of these releases came in the form of the Crossbell duology, which is not only considered by fans as the best Trails arc, but has since become my favorite Trails games of all time. And then there's The Legend of Nayuta Boundless Trails, a Trails side story originally released on the PSP. If you've never heard of Nayuta before, it's an action RPG in a similar vein as older Ys titles, meaning this isn't gonna be a party-based affair, nor will it have the same expansive environments as the highly popular Ys 8. What this means is that while Nayuta doesn't have the same size and scale as later Ys games, what it does deliver on is an adventure that's lengthy, fun, and very easy to jump in and out of, which is a must-play for busy fans of JRPGs. The Legend of Nayuta Boundless Trails is an action RPG originally released on the PSP in 2012 and serves as a side story to the Trails games. The game is developed by Falcom, with PH3 handling its PC release. The footage you're seeing right now is from the Switch version of the game, and I'd like to thank NIS America for this game code. Before I talk about Nayuta, I think it's important to set some expectations here. As said before, Nayuta doesn't have the massive scale of Ys 8, nor does it have the party-based gameplay that the Ys series has had for quite some time now. That's because of the platform Nayuta originally came out on. When developers created games for portable platforms back in the day, they needed to account for the fact that players would often be playing these games on the go. It's because of this that every single facet of Nayuta's design had to be conducive to interruption, while allowing players to get a substantial amount of gameplay even in the shortest spans of time. This is what helps Nayuta become a more digestible experience when compared to many other JRPGs out there. And with the game being given action gameplay rather than turn-based combat, the battles feel a bit more exciting when you're on the go. Interestingly enough, this resulted in a design that is very reminiscent of Square Enix's Brave Fencer Musashi, a game that Nayuta constantly reminded me of. Each area in Nayuta is a level in and of itself, with bottomless pits, traps, treasures, and of course, enemies. The levels are presented in a 2.5D style that moves the camera around to give better visibility to incoming traversal challenges or to obscure hidden treasures. Rarely does this camera become obtrusive, and it's often used to great effect in both its cutscenes and levels. I really enjoyed traversing Nayuta's levels, as it awakened the explorer in me, making me want to obtain every single treasure chest and fight every single monster I could find. One thing that impressed me about Nayuta on the Switch is the crispness of its texturing and how much its polygon models have held up. Granted, we're not talking about ultra-realistic graphics here, but the artwork on display in Nayuta is stylized so well that it still looks great seeing it in modern times. There's a painterly look to some of the game's textures, as well as a sharpness that's rare to see in Switch games that I absolutely admire. There's also some light highlighting of the characters that happens every time they move that adds a tiny bit of depth to them, a welcome detail that is otherwise easily missed. The battle system in Nayuta is pretty simple. You have an attack button, a double jump, and a roll button. You also have a button to command your companion Noi to unleash an attack, whose attacks can be switched with the press of a button. Noi's attack charges can be replenished over time or by aggressively attacking enemies, though every time you switch attacks, it'll reset back down to 0. One really cool thing about Nayuta's combat is that it rewards you with buffs for consecutive attacks without getting hit. The higher this combo gets, the more buffs you activate all at once. You also get special moves by fulfilling specific requirements for each level and getting your Swordsman Stamp card stamped. While seemingly straightforward, the battles in Nayuta are actually a lot of fun, no thanks in part to creative boss battles and of various monster pairings. I love how the monsters themselves provide the complexity to Nayuta's combat, forcing us to be creative with dealing with different groups of enemies without having to memorize pages of combos. There's also a few systems that provide a bit of variety to your level traversal. There's a fun side quest system if you want to get money or rewards, a cooking system that has you asking your sister Eartha to make a dish so that you can learn how to make it on the field, as well as a museum turn-in system that reminds me a lot of Animal Crossing. Your hometown's design is also quite compact and ensures that you won't easily get lost, and the nearest general store and smithy can be found in the main plaza as well. You can get back to town quickly just with a menu selection, and the areas load super fast. Again, these are all design considerations that were built into Nayuta to ensure that you get to play the game rather than waiting in loading screens. That being said, due to its origins on the PSP, I wouldn't expect Nayuta to have the same kinds of complicated and interconnecting storylines as the mainline Trails games. Though much like the Trails games, voice acting in Nayuta can be found in a few main story sequences, only to have it turn off often in the same scene. All that said, I found Nayuta's story to be thankfully digestible in bite-sized chunks, along with lots of fun lore to learn about that made this adventure quite entertaining, though I will warn you that it takes quite a bit to get into the action bits from the start. When I think about my experience with Nayuta, two words come to mind: compact and generous. There's a lot of gaming to be had in this 30+ hour adventure that had me doing a bunch of side quests, cooking bento boxes, and trying to get the best ratings in every level. I didn't know much about Nayuta coming into this, but now I truly understand why people wanted this game to be brought to the West. And while it might not have the same massive scope as the later Ys games, Nayuta generously has a ton of fun systems and a fairly lengthy adventure for anyone who wants to lose themselves for a few bite-sized hours at a time, or wants a fun yet simple JRPG to play all the way through.